Hello and welcome to Twist of Fate. I'm Varvarus, I'm your GM, and you join us in the middle of this campaign of Deathwatch, the TTRPG, and let's jump into meeting the cast.
Hey, I'm Zarek. I play August, and I think I've decided to quit 10th edition, honestly.
Hi there, I am Tom, host of the Astartes Anonymous podcast and resident baked beans expert. I play Sael, the squad's prettiest boy.
Hello, I'm Aaron. I play Dima, the biggest boy of the squad, both in-game and in person. Hello.
Hello, I'm Maxi. I just woke up and I'm playing Konstantinos, and I'm pretty sure Zarek has convinced me to play fourth.
Hello, I'm Ed. I play Gathiel, and he's probably angry. He usually is.
Probably. Yeah.
I'm Croc. I play Barbers, and that's not important. You should buy Epic Scale. You should play Epic Scale. Buy Epic Scale.
Yes.
Get a Battle Force box. Buy Epic Scale.
Yes.
This Games Workshop shill.
It's not Games Workshop. I love Epic Scale. I love Epic Scale.
And without further ado, let's get into the episode. So, picking up where we left off, you guys have just re-emerged from the warp into real space on the other side of the Damocles Gulf. You're, in fact, in the Hydas system.
How do you spell that?
Hi, Das. I'm Zarek.
Oh my god. So, pretty much immediately upon re-entering real space, you're getting alarms and klaxons blaring of a different kind than the ones you've heard of your 5 months of warp travel. It's target proximity warnings, as basically the Crusade fleet has encountered forward formations of the Tau defense. The Lance of Penance is not joining the naval conflict in the Hydas system. As such, your only recourse is to sit and watch as other Imperial ships get stuck in the fray and you guys are held back in reserve. What do each of you kind of do in this moment? To set the scene a bit more, you guys are on the Lance of Penance. You guys have pretty much just left the warp and you had to butcher tons of serfs and crewmen and people who just went crazy. And right now, the massed Crusade fleet, the teeming multitudes of giant flying space cathedrals, are moving off to engage some very, very distant Tau shapes near some planets. And your ship is moving off in another direction, along with plenty of other ships, mostly landers and Imperial Guard transport vessels. They're all kind of moving off to the side, as the battleships and the light cruisers and the real amassed forces of the Imperial Navy Crusade fleet are moving in to engage these. And you guys are you're just stuck on your ship with the rest of watch stations, Alpha on staff. Barbus, what are you kind of doing? Would you go to there is an observatorium that you can go and watch the battle from if you would like, but you can do something else as well. You've got a little bit of free time while this fight concludes, essentially.
Well, I think Barbers, being incredibly unique and diverse as a character, is going to rest his heavy bolter over his lap and perform the necessary weapon maintenance and machine spirit appeasement rituals, seeing as combat feels potentially imminent.
Just in the barracks.
Yeah. You know, he's got his rag off to the side, his pots of holy unguent, that are like incense ball on a string that they waft over stuff. Just taking it all apart super meticulously and putting it back together because he likes it that way.
August, what are you doing?
August is readying his axe and shield and is gonna make his way around, helping along with any of the serfs who are running to their stations, like maybe helping them with access ways that aren't opening properly, or gathering them together in properly defensible positions. He's very much concerned about their obedience following the chaos of that voyage, and they're lacking morale going into this fight.
The mood of the ratings is abysmal, as it always is. They pretty much cringe and try to escape your presence at all times. You can't really get a word in with them. The naval crewmen who are serving, they've seen this kind of thing before. It was a harrowing journey. They're a little bit shaken. Your reassurance really seems to help them. But they're hardened naval warfare experts. These people have been through bad warp journeys before. The serfs are probably the most rattled, and you can do your best to kind of reassure them, but they know that in the Deathwatch they are very expendable, and a lot of them just get killed or sent to do tasks that are going to get them killed all the time, and they're just kind of these downtrodden, defeated, pessimistic people, and you can't really lift their spirits, but you're pretty sure they're not going to betray you.
Wonderful. That's all I need.
What's Dima doing?
Dima will probably be makeshift bandaging his newly acquired wounds from his iron barring. When he got stabbed by rebar.
Iron stakes.
Iron stake rebar, yes. He'll always be sort of tending to those for a little bit and then just going out for a walk around to the current state of things in his absence.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. There's a lot of blood, a lot of serfs picking up butchered bodies. It looks like Garthiel was here.
Just written on the wall, Garthiel was here.
Yeah, it was a rough journey for everyone. That much was clear, and obviously you as a psyker kind of had your own battles to deal with. But it definitely seems a lot of people fell to warp madness.
They'll probably just try and find some of the other members of the squad in his own time.
Okay. Sala, obviously you have recovered from the Garthiel beating you took. It's been a little bit of a while, so what's Sala doing at this, as you're essentially sitting out this battle?
Sala is where he always is. Sala is on his knees in prayer in the Reclusium.
Okay. And Garthiel?
Oh, what would Garthiel be doing? I feel like he'd probably be trying to contact the Master of Ordnance or something like that to send him in, like, assault pods.
Fire! I know we're on the edge of the system, but fire me into the center!
You send me to the Botan and I will return.
I'm just on the box, just be like, but Master of Ordnance, it would be most wise if we Astartes were there.
You would just get completely cut off in the middle of your transmission. It's just Keeper Kazrael would just be like, Garthiel, shut up.
Just smash the phone of a box.
You would basically have your transmission cut off by one of the Keepers or one of the other members of Zalfron Command to the Master of Ordnance to be like, you should not know. Just literally, you would just be hung up on.
In my sulking, I collect a bunch of serfs and head for fighting pits.
Are you taking the serfs to murder them or to teach them how to fight?
To teach them how to fight.
Konstantinos, what would you be doing?
Konstantinos is going to be observing the battle from the port that you were talking about earlier, very keenly studying exactly what strategies and what type of ships are being the most effective against the Tau warships and what defenses and weaponry the Tau ships are using.
So there would be numerous other Astartes in here as well, a lot of the other members of Watch Station Zalfron, all watching the sort of strategium display and readout in the observatorium as these ships' ancient and archaic optics are basically zoomed in on the battle and projecting a holographic display as well of Imperial ships and reportings of Tau ships. The battle plays out over the course of a couple hours. It's basically the Tau open up with torpedo barrages that stop the Imperial Navy vessels really closing in and opening up with their broadsides and macro cannons. But that's then brought to an end when the sides of the Emperor launch a large-scale boarding action with their strike cruisers and battle barges to basically punch through the Tau defenses as their ships can easily weather the storm of their long-range torpedoes. And the sides of the Emperor basically break apart this Tau fleet in a matter of hours.
Okay.
So after those few hours pass, the Tau fleet in Hydas retreats. The Crusade fleet recoalesces. Scans are done of the system. A small fleet is detached off and begins bombing the one populated planet in the system, melting its polar ice caps and flooding the entire planet. And then a day or two passes, you guys are back to your regular combat drills, and the Crusade fleet is split up, moving in various different directions. You stay with the main fleet as you once again enter warp translation, a short jump this time.
I'll make sure to hang out near Sael again.
Great. My head was starting to feel good. Thanks.
And after a short and uneventful warp journey, you arrive in a system unknown to Imperial space. No records, no names for it. Is immediately assigned a numerical number by the accompanying Mechanicus forces. This area on Imperial maps was originally obscured by warp storms, and as such has no name. There is another brief fleet engagement as the remnants of the ships that were defending the Hydas system seem to have retreated to this system, and they are very swiftly obliterated by sheer numbers. They can't hope to hold out against the Crusade fleet. And you guys are just getting reports of these kind of things as you're on combat drills, and about 2 weeks passes of your time in this system, of which you learn its name as an Imperial intelligence report is filtered up to you guys, and a name is ascribed to it, which is Sy'l'kell. And you're also aware that Imperial forces have landed on a Tau world in this system. It is the first land conflict within Tau space featuring Imperial forces, as far as you're aware, for all of Imperial history.
Nice. We're not on the planet?
You have not been deployed. You are just in orbit, sat around... Well, not sat around, on constant combat drills. But for Space Marines, you're effectively sat around twiddling your thumbs.
Garfield goes to reach for the Vox, but realizes it's broken it.
What essentially you guys are on is on standby readiness. So you're not being given any free time because they might want to deploy you at any moment. But they also just want you kind of around doing things and making sure your skills are sharp. After about 2 weeks of inaction, probably the longest you guys have been that hasn't been traveling. Like, you've just been cramped on the Lance of Penance for 2 weeks.
With Garfield.
Drilling non-stop. You guys are all probably getting a little bit of, like, trigger itch, you know? You guys are finally called to the Strategium for deployment. And as you are venturing up to the Strategium of the Lance of Penance, you enter into this large room with a large hololithic display table in the center, a few banks of tiered seats designed to fit Astartes and mortals, and large screens over every wall. It is obviously also bedecked with the usual Imperial iconography of golden eagles, skulls, and images of martyrs and saints. But one thing you'll notice is that, being as this is the Lance of Penance and is a very old ship, its iconography tends to be very devoid of religious symbols. And any that you do see seem to be later additions to the decorations. In the center of the room, by the hololithic table, are 3 mortals, one of which you immediately recognize as Lord Inquisitor Caleb, 1 Astartes, which you immediately recognize as Keeper Hamish, and the 2 unfamiliar mortals appear to be dressed in the uniforms of the Imperial Guard. And Keeper Hamish beckons you in.
Guess we'll head in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Actually, yeah, August will flash Keeper Hamish one of the Legion salutes, just pumping a fist to his chest.
The Keeper returns it. Brothers, I assume you have not grown too irritable from this inaction.
I'm ready to destroy some Xenos scum.
I will do what is required of me.
Yes, you could say we're sharpened to a point, even.
I'm glad to hear it. The Watch Captain sends his regrets that he could not join us at this meeting, but I speak with his voice. I assume you understand what that means. He looks at Garfield.
Garfield looks at him back, deadpan.
Very well. The gentlemen we have with us today are Colonel Garen Dren of the Brimlock Dragoons 17th and General Wendell Gage, High Commander of the Damocles Crusade Astra Militarum Forces. Both of them bow in respect to you.
Give him the good old sign of the Aquila.
The Lord Inquisitor also kind of like tips his sort of witch hunter hat to Dima and Barbas. The last time you saw him, obviously, you were clinging to his podium of authority in amongst a riot.
Yeah.
Are you well, my lord?
All the better for your protection.
In his name.
The Marines of Zalfron acquitted themselves well, given the circumstances. We expected a bit of an outbreak from the sparing of the Archdeacon, but it was far larger than we anticipated, and the Arbites failed to keep control of the situation. Those responsible have been punished.
As would be expected, of course.
Now, I believe General Gage was in the middle of briefing us on his plans for the offensive, for which he has requested the Deathwatch's aid. Yes. My lords. And he bows. So General Gage is a short, portly man with he's quite broad. He probably had quite a sort of muscular figure in his youth, but he's very clearly undergone a few rejuvenation treatments and the telltale signs of like liver spots under the chin where perhaps the treatment didn't quite get to them. But he has a excellent waxed and well-cared large brimmed moustache, neatly trimmed mutton chops, and a crop of a receding dark brown hair, which has been finely shaped into a rather stunning widow's peak. He is in a stunningly crisp green uniform trimmed with gold and red. He looks every bit the Astra Militarum general that he is. Yes, my lords. Now, we have planned a major offensive down upon the surface of Sy'l'kell, but we've run into a bit of trouble. After making good advances, my forces have been ambushed by a new Xenos species the Imperium has not encountered before, and they are not Tau. He presses a button on the hololithic display, and this strange, two-legged, avian-like creature appears in a fuzzy resolution, and immediately is recognizable as a Kroot. Not to you in character, because this is the first time the Imperium has encountered the Kroot. Officially.
Well, hold on. They are an ancient species. It's not inconceivable the Imperium would have encountered them before.
It is officially their first meeting.
I see.
So Dima's eyes will sort of light up because new Ooga Booga Xenos mentioned. Could I immediately make a Forbidden Law Xenos on this?
Yes, you can all make Forbidden Law Xenos on whether or not you know what a Kroot is, because this is... The Imperium has met Kroot before. It's hired them as mercenaries.
Mm-hmm.
This is just it is forbidden knowledge to know that Kroot exists.
Oh,
Out of curiosity, do I like auto succeed, or like how does my language knowledge work in this?
I think you can auto succeed, Constantinos. Okay, so Dima, August, and Constantinos. Your chapters have encountered the Kroot before. You know these exist. You know they're called Kroot. Whether or not you can reveal this information to this general is a separate point. You're not quite sure of what his clearance is, especially considering he just told you this is a brand new species. You would all know that it is forbidden to know about the Kroot's existence.
Not if you don't know about them.
Yeah, no, the Grim Ones never encountered Kroot. Don't know what you're on about. Brand new alien.
I feel like August has probably paid them to fuck off before.
Constantinos might have eaten one before.
Neither of you three are going to correct this man and go, actually, that's a Kroot, and we've known they've existed for years, but we've just not been allowed to say so. But clearly the information has been declassified now, if you know about it.
No.
No, he doesn't need to know about those nasty deals.
Exactly. Yeah, good. Okay, now, these aliens, which local interrogations have found are called the Kroot, have been ambushing our forces and engaging them into hand-to-hand combat. We've even had reports of them eating the dead. They are vile creatures. But, worst of all, they've been targeting my officers. After we engaged them initially, we saw them off with our armor. However, they retreated back to, and he's going to press another button on the hololithic, and the sort of image changes from the Kroot to the picture of the planet, immediately zooming in on an area of the sort of landmass. And it's this little kind of rocky outcropping that then leads towards some mountains. It's a sort of rocky ridge that goes for about a good few 100 kilometers. And it lights up with sort of icons depicting Tau and Imperial forces. The Imperial forces south of the ridgeline and the Tau forces occupying it. And a few kind of skulls appear up on the map with sort of BHQ written next to them. And several of them immediately flash red. These icons here represent battalion headquarters of regiments moving forward along what we have designated the Mythal Ridge. Every single one, and there's about 20 of them, has been hit by Kroot infiltration forces, where they have snuck through our lines and attacked these HQs and slaughtered the officers inside. Now, my guardsmen are not incompetent. These Kroot are masters of using the terrain. What we need you to do is to go in, support the Astra Militarum offensive, and take out the leader of these Kroot infiltration forces. We have already begun gathering intelligence on them, and your target is what is known as a Trail Shaper, Masters of Ambush. We have interrogated a few captured Kroot, and we believe his name to be Turak. Now, this is your primary objective, is the assassination of this Shaper. We believe him to be the expert on Sy'l'kell's terrain. With him dead, they should no longer be able to sneak through our lines so easily. But as a secondary objective, we need you to join the main offensive. These breaches and the deaths of our battalion officers have meant that our offenses have been floundering. We now lack the coordination to really bring forward the full might of the Imperial Guard. And some Astartes steel will really assist bringing that back home. What?
Barbas gives this guy a completely just like blank deadpan look in response to that.
Dima will give him like a very slow thumbs up.
General, can you tell me if there are any particular regiments these aliens are attacking?
The other officer sort of raises his hand, and he'll go, that'd be me, I'm afraid. It would be the Brimlock 17th.
I see. I'm not familiar with your regiment. Tell me of your homeworld. I'd like to know a little something about why they might be targeting you.
Well, we were the Vanguard Regiment, we assume. I don't think it's got anything to do with Grimlock. We're just a good old-fashioned Imperial world. Nothing particularly special about us.
Must be.
He'll try and not let on that he's thinking about this in particular detail.
General, why do we not just orbitally bombard their positions?
Well, the Tau have powerful force fields protecting the area. We have other units tasked with breaching their orbital defenses. And he, gestures vaguely at the map, and there's basically, a couple of regiments moving up or, around the ridgeline towards where they think these shield generators might be. Now, I assume you would like to be briefed upon the main offensive?
Yes.
Indeed.
Now, what is needed to restore our momentum upon this planet is some solid steel. And immediately the colonel, folds his arms and just grunts as the hololithic display begins to shift and move as the general begins typing in some stuff. The Brimlock 17th will move in advance of the Brimlock 122nd Armored, providing a screening force to remove Tau hidden gun positions and to act as recon for the armored assault. The tanks will then move up into the ridge and blow apart the Tau defenses. The colonel then just goes, "You can't be serious with this, right? You're gonna move tanks from flatlands to roughlands into rocky outcroppings. General, I must protest." The general immediately turns to him "I told you not to bring this objection up in front of the Astartes."
General, if I may, if your subordinates have concerns about a plan of attack, it would do well to listen to them.
While I appreciate always the insight of the Emperor's angels, I assure you that I have considered this stratagem along with my advisors, and Colonel Garandren here is a outlier. We're in firm support of this plan, and we believe a strong armored offensive into the ridge will secure it.
Tell me, General, have you encountered Tau battlesuits before?
No, he bloody well hasn't. He hasn't even been down to the... Silence, Colonel!
Backhands him.
Yeah, literally does just kind of crack him in the chest.
Garfield chuckles.
I would advise a more thoughtful approach, something more guarded. The Tau do not fight with any modicum of honor. You see, their greatest assets tend to be mobility. This will outstrip the effectiveness of these vehicles in such terrain. They will be picked apart.
That also being said, the Tau tanks are more maneuverable and could blow a hole through a Lehman Russ at fucking 2 kilometers.
I actually do have armored tactics.
You would know he's this is pretty shit terrain to send tanks into.
Yeah, I was double checking to make sure. Can I give a very logical explanation on why he's dumb as fuck?
You absolutely can, and he does not listen to it at all.
I'm gonna look over to just anybody else from my squad and just kind of
Keeper Hamish is actually just going to open on the Vox to you all. Brothers, I suggest you hold your tongue. This plan has caused some political frictions within Crusade Command, and, well, quite frankly, we can't undermine the General's position, otherwise the regiment commanders might start to act out. I believe Garandren has been brought here to make somewhat of an example of.
Very well, then. He will pay the price in his own trooper's blood, and we will hang the consequences.
Very well. And the General is then going to kind of smile and nod at all of you and just go, "Again, I do deeply appreciate the advice, Astartes, but my officers are experts, seasoned veterans, and while they could never hope to match you in personal skill, strategy is the greatest weapon of the Guard. And, you see, this will bring a swift resolution to this world, and then we can move to our next targets. And to assure you of my assurity in this plan, and to give it the veteran, strategically enlightened commander it needs, I am assigning Colonel Garen Dren here, and he clasps the guy in the back, as the frontline commander of the entire offensive.
Very well then.
As this guy basically says that his officers are like, oh, like he's like, yada yada, you guys are good, like, whenever it comes to your personal stuff, but strategy, the guard, yeah, we're built better. Konstantinos is probably not by Immortal, but by the other Astartes is going to visibly tense and stare down the general for like an uncomfortably long second before Konstantinos continues his like idle animation. I don't know.
Yeah, August would catch that. He'd probably notice Konstantinos, seeing what's happening here. So as he sees Konstantinos tense, he is quite angry because he knows there's ill sense here. He can see the visible frustration in Konstantinos, which, given Konstantinos' knowledge in these matters, makes him even more concerned. And seeing this other guard officer who seems far more competent, he's going to step up next to Konstantinos and, taking his helmet off, bore into this general with piercing eyes, not saying anything, just giving him a deathly look. And I'd like to intimidate.
Absolutely. The general is very visibly sweating as you bore your eyes into his soul and out the back.
I would suggest, Commander, you reconsider your options.
My options are very much set in stone, Astartes. Keeper Hamish is then just going to tap his polearm butt on the floor of the strategium. Brother, you forget yourself. And he just glares at you, August.
August kind of rolls his shoulders back, kind of nods at Hamish, a sort of dip in his head of deference, and places the helmet back on.
Sael's going to look at Brother August, just going to put one hand on his shoulder and just say, Brother, regardless of our feelings, trust in the Emperor's divine will, for it is he who has placed the general in this position. With that in mind, I must insist we follow his plan.
Is that over closed vox or is that out loud?
That's closed vox.
But doesn't August have his helmet off?
He just put it back on.
As August is leaving, there is just like a nod of, or a sigh of relief and a nod of approval towards August.
Hamish is then going to basically cut you guys off and just go, now, brothers, I will be serving as your liaison and Deathwatch liaison to this offensive. There are other kill teams on other missions which you do not need to worry about. Now, the last place your target, Turak, was spotted was up here in the northern eastern areas past the ridgeline. An advanced recon team of Imperial guardsmen spotted his kindred encamped by this small Tau village. He gestures to it on the map. You'll need to pick up his trail from here, and this report is already 3 days old. You will insert their Corvus Blackstar here. Again, gestures at another point on the map. Along with me and the Colonel here, we'll rendezvous with the offensive commanders, and then you will move out to help support the offensive before breaking off to pursue Turak. Any questions?
None, my lord.
Are we expecting any battle suits down there?
This arrayed against us appears to be a full contingent of the Firecast forces. As such, we are expecting multiple different configurations of Tau battlesuits, tanks, armored transports, and infantry, along with their additional alien allies.
Sorry, would we know about Vespids yet?
New. But it's a forbidden law check, because, you might do.
Oh, okay, no worries.
Is there live satellite feed onto the planet, from orbit?
Yeah, there is.
Cool, so a cartograph might be pretty good here.
Yeah. Are there any other questions?
What sort of weaponry do these Kroot employ?
Keeper Hamish presses a few buttons on the hololithic display table, and you're presented with crude-looking rifles, bows, and knives, essentially. Their weapons are extremely primitive, but constructed of advanced alloys. Additionally, we have reports of them using Tau weaponry in accompaniment to their own. These weapons should pose little threat to your power armor, but beware, they are devastating should they find the gaps.
Noted.
Are these creatures difficult to kill on their own?
The Kroot are fierce melee combatants, but they are no match for Astartes' might. Unless in large numbers, they will not pose a threat to you.
Were there any like picked captures, like photos of the Kroot that they've encountered on this particular war zone?
Yeah, there are.
So given that August knows about them, do these Kroot exhibit any obvious mutations?
Not that you can tell.
Actually, could I make a Medicaid check? Or is there like a xenobiology check I can do?
It would be a Forbidden Law Kroot check, actually.
What about Forbidden Lore beasts? Sorry, scholastic beasts.
I am afraid not.
Oh.
Your knowledge of Forbidden Law Xenos lets you know that Kroot exist in some rough... It lets you know, like, a paragraph about them, but, like, you don't. You need more specialized knowledge to really know that much about them.
What was the name of the... There was a crew identified that we were supposed to... Like, a specific one, right?
Yeah, Turak.
Does that mean anything in their language?
Guider of the Hunt.
Guider of the Hunt, okay.
Any more questions?
What is our requisition allowance for this mission?
There has been an additional requisition assigned to you to represent the conditions as you are entering a war zone. As such, the Armory's war zone requisition limits have been deployed in accordance with the Codex.
Excellent.
If that is all, then, Ignis, you are dismissed. And he's going to slam his polearm on the floor.
To the armory, cousins!
Do the, like, Astartes thing, like, every single space marine in their life has done, and, you know, you slam your fist against your chest, like, yeah, we're cool.
Yeah. You all do the Astartes salute in unison and clank out of Strategium as Hamish goes to the Colonel and General finalizing some details for acting as liaison. You are all now in the Lance of Penance's armory. The area is filled with corridors, with long lockers filled with ammo, bolters, and all the other armaments that were taken from Zalfron and stored within here, that they assumed they would need whilst on the Crusade. There are long lists stored in data slates that you can walk around the armory with, scrolling through. However, the most important aspect of any mission is to decide who should be your squad lead, and what oath of moment you will swear on this mission.
Cousins, I nominate myself as a squad lead.
Never saw that one coming.
Oh, he's going to finally sniff them out.
In place of Garthiel, I offer myself as squad lead. This mission is combat and seeking to destroy the enemy. The doctrine of a devastator would be best suited.
Brothers, if the safety of the Emperor's mortal soldiers are important to our presence here, then few chapters in the Imperium have the ability to safeguard vital individuals like the Midas Saints or the Knights of the Blanched Hollow. As such, we would be fools to deny myself or August leadership on this mission.
As much as I agree with your priority, brother, I do believe in fact that Constantinos might be the best for this mission. They will need support. They are going into their deaths, most surely. His expertise in the nature of machines and machine warfare will see them live or die.
Although I am thankful for your vote of confidence, brother, I do not think it is my place to lead. For the points that you've brought up, I feel like it's more so if I take a back seat, focusing on that, leaving somebody else with the squad lead role.
I would like to nominate Sael. This mission is too broad. Our enemy is unknown in variation, armor, and capacity. The objective requires both gentle and firm hands. So I think Sael will be the best pick.
I disagree, brother. The objective is to kill Turak. Our secondaries, to assist in taking the ridge and destroy the Tau forces. This mission is as simple as it can get. Destroy the enemy wherever they may hide.
Brother, I assure you, Turak is doomed. We will kill him. But then the outcome of the mortals, that is far less certain.
It is the job of the commander to assure the mortals make it through. We are to assist where necessary. You focus far too much on saving them yourself, August, even when warned by Hamish. The insubordination you showed in the command center was not forgotten.
Hamish is a diplomat. He will not save lives, but I respect his authority.
Hamish speaks with the words of Watch Captain Varvas. We are to listen to his advice and not question it.
While Barbas raises a fair point on Hamish speaking on Varvas' behalf, my vote still lies with Salah on this one.
Brothers, the threat of ambush is abundant, and our objective is ultimately to safeguard lives. The Midas Saints have integrated ambush tactics into our combat doctrine for millennia. To overlook me for leadership would be unwise here.
Very well. Constantinos, if you will not stand, then I shall place my vote for Salah.
I will also place my vote for Salah.
I will not leave the squad divided. I will change my vote to Salah.
Cousins, the mission, the primary objective, is to destroy this Kroot leader. Would it not be preferable for a full frontal assault? With the wrath of our chainswords, our weaponry, our might, shock assault will be the least they were expecting.
Garthiel, if I may.
You may not. No, you may. Sorry.
In a situation such as this, Garthiel, you lack both the guidance of the Devastator Doctrine, nor the knowledge of ambush tactics present in the Midas Saints. Our goal is to assist the assault, not die to it.
Our goal is for assassination, cousin. Our assistance is secondary.
And yet an objective nonetheless.
I shall vote for myself.
Brother Garthiel, you are undoubtedly a masterful swordsman, and a war zone suits your leadership skills well. However, this mission is not a siege.
Vote still stands, cousin.
As does mine.
It is my belief, brother, that your time will come. It is simply not today, that is all.
Gaffel just gives a grunt. Just, I will follow your lead, as Watch Captain Varvas has advised.
Regardless of Watch Captain Varvas, I want you to know, Brother Garthiel, that your word means something to me. Thank you.
Gaffel is genuinely surprised. Like, a proper surprise. Gaffel walks up to Salah and just gives a strong punch in the right shoulder. Good man.
Before grunting in pain, Salah will nod his head and turn around and then sort of make it very quiet. Presumably, he's going to turn around to look at Dima, so only Dima notices him make a expression to go, that kind of fucking hurt, bro.
He's not enraged. He hasn't got the strength boost yet. That wouldn't have gone through your armor.
It's Garfield, trust me, it went through.
Probably only Salah would hear, just a very faint
So you guys are currently reviewing the lists of equipment stored within the armory. Barbas has already been seeded a las cannon at the direct express wish of squad lead, but the numerous other bits of requisition have been sequestered by other squads. Some have been loaned out to the sides of the Emperor, who are also operating in the area and need additional start-use firepower. And your requisition limit is a little bit tighter than you were hoping. And Salah, who is now the squad lead, is currently deciding the final dispensation of equipment.
Right, brothers. We have 43 requisition left to allocate. We have one very large ranged weapon to help us deal with tanks and Tau suits. I believe it would be folly of us to not at least consider giving Brother Garthiel a power sword for all his troubles. Certainly having the fastest, most efficient member of the squad be even more efficient can only be a good thing in a mission such as this.
Yes, that's agreeable.
It'll be even more useful if we encounter any battle suits. As much as I love my chainsword, it does little against their armor.
I will cede on this point as well.
Brother Barbarous, if you're not too partial, perhaps, since you have a las cannon, you could allow Constantinos to bring the heavy bolter. This way we bring 2 heavy weapons in the squad. One to deal with heavy infantry, one to deal with heavy armor.
Would you suggest, Brother August, that I am not capable of handling 2 heavy weapons myself?
I'm saying, brother, that you can only wield one at a time.
I would beg to differ, Brother August. In fact, I am of the belief that I can do both.
Brother Barbas, I appreciate your zeal, but if you refuse to part with the heavy bolter, have you considered letting Brother Konstantinos take the last cannon?
I'm afraid I have not been clear enough, brothers. The point where I'm coming from, it is not my belief that I can handle 2 heavy weapons. It is that I can handle 2 heavy weapons, and I would not trust my heavy bolter in the hands of another. It is too temperamental, shall we say.
Just so we're on the same page, brother, you mean you can wield them both and fire them both with accuracy simultaneously at the same second?
Not at the same second, but with a split-second difference.
Brother Barbas, your emperor-loving nature is my favorite thing about you. It's commendable, really. In fact, certain members of the squad could learn a thing or two. But this is hubris. Please reconsider your stance on this. Give Konstantinos the las cannon, or surrender your heavy bolter. For the good of the mission, for the good of the Imperium.
Unwilling to yield due to how personal his heavy bolter is and how it's behaved in missions past, he quite literally has the superstition that he does not trust anyone else with that bolter.
With your requisition forms filled out and your equipment handed to you, your signature war gear obviously always with you, being your personal items and weapons that you have grown attached to. You head to a chamber in the Lance of Penance Chapel, swear your oath of moment to the Emperor to bring justice to the town in his name, and to slay the Trail Shaper Turak, before heading down to one of the hangar bays where, once more, Gracchus is waiting with your Corvus Blackstar, ready to take you on board. You load up into the Corvus Blackstar and have to wait about 20-30 minutes for Keeper Hamish and the Colonel to arrive. Greetings, brothers. I'm sure you, as I, cannot wait to spill the blood of this Xenos filth.
Stoic silence.
All just being silent to him.
No, in my headcanon, we're all just grumpily staring at Barbas for his overwhelming stubbornness.
We're all awkward from that interaction earlier.
Stupidity, yes.
But Barbas, oblivious to the glares of his compatriots, will simply nod in approval.
Keeper Hamish is going to look round, realizing he's stepped into an awkward moment. And he's going to help the Colonel into sort of one of the harnesses to try and, makeshift it for a mortal. Gracchus is just kind of, stood watching in disgust as a human is put into his Corvus Blackstar. Disgusting.
Sael's just going to speak up to Brother Hamish, real quick. Are there any extra precautions being taken to safeguard the Colonel's life, brother?
Is that of a closed box?
Yes.
There are none. He will either die in the grace of the God Emperor or slay the foe and be showered in glory. Quite frankly, from my understanding, he's spoken his mind too many times in the General's presence.
Can I shoot a closed vox over to one of the members of the squad?
Which one?
August.
So yeah, you open up a closed vox frequency with just August. Go ahead.
Sael is simply going to turn his head to Brother August, enough to catch Brother August's attention, and literally the only thing he's going to say over the vox, just literally immediately after Hamish says what he said, Sael is literally just going to look at August and just say, Brother August, and just nod very faintly.
August kind of clicks back over at the closed link. No words, just the click.
Oh, there's two different kinds of clicks, though. Was it an affirmation click or a denial click?
It's the click of affirmation. It's written in the third-person text of this novel.
Shortly after securing the Colonel and then securing himself, Gracchus heads up to the cockpit, seals the passenger bay of the Corvus Blackstar, the ramp very slowly closing, and there is a sudden jolt, and then a feeling of mild weightlessness as the Corvus Blackstar enters the void and begins descending down to the planet of Sy'l'kell. Mission start. Squad lead designated as Salah Al-Heed. Oath of the Emperor taken. Primary objective: hunt down and eliminate Trail Shaper Turak. Secondary objectives: assist the 17th Brimlock Dragoons in taking Ridge 273. Thin Tau forces, 50 kill markers required. Tertiary objectives: find any intel on the location of Commander Puretide. Foil an enemy ambush. Requisitions are as follows: Barbus, las cannon assigned a signature war gear, Deathwatch weapon suspender, and 2 combat pouches. Garthiel, power sword. Konstantinos, cartograph, Astartes weapon sling, plasma gun, and magnoculars. Dima, combat pouch. Sala, no requisitions. August, jump pack. You enter atmosphere with a jolt, the entry causing flames to spark up around the Corvus Black Star, and you're all bathed in soft blue light. Colonel is very clearly uncomfortable in his harness and is being bashed around quite heavily, as Astartes vessels are not built for comfortable re-entry, unlike the comparative comfort of an Astra Militarum vehicle.
Barbus would like to evaluate his fresh new las cannon.
It is an ancient and venerable Godwin pattern las cannon. There are millions like it across the Imperium, but this one is of Astartes craft and is therefore at least a few centuries old.
Sala's going to just speak to the Colonel, and just almost in a jokey kind of, not jokey, I don't know if he's going to quite, I'm not sure if Sala's quite capable of jokey at the moment, but in like a mildly concerned way. Sala's just going to say to the Colonel, "Mind your grip, Colonel. A concussion would serve you ill upon landfall." Seeing the Colonel just wobbling about like a shaken baby in his little cot over there.
I don't know how you Astartes deal with this. This is bloody worse than a goddamn harvest lighter.
The truth is, Colonel, we cheat. Got an organ for it or two.
And he taps the side of his helmet.
Bloody wish I had one of those.
Don't worry, Colonel. If you splat across the hull, I'll get the best servitors to clean it.
I can't tell if he's joking or being serious. And with that, the Corvus Black Star banks suddenly. You can start to hear explosions ricocheting in the atmosphere, the streak of jet fighters, and the strange ethereal hum of Tau fighter craft. And Gracchus's voice crackles over the Vox. Brothers, there are fighters in air. Not sure if the Corvus Black Star's sensor dampening equipment is obscuring us. There are Tau in clear airspace, requesting additional fighter support, relaying with Navy. Hold on, we may be taking fire.
Barbus is going to vox to Gracchus. If possible, brother, get me a shot. And he's going to move towards the back door.
Barbus, get back in your fracking seat, you loser!
And Gracchus is going to crackle back over the Vox. There's a Barracuda fighter on our tail, Barbus. I'm giving you the shot. And the ramp will slowly lower down, revealing the strange, pale blue, almost transitioning to an odd brown sky. The air is filled with Tau fighter craft and Imperial Navy craft, duking it out in the skies over Sy'l'kell.
Barbus is going to approach the back door with his lasgun and primed ready to test its new capabilities.
Your mag boots locking you to the floor of the Corvus Black Star, preventing you flying out into the atmosphere.
Gonna get on the Vox really quick. Brother Barbus, can you hear me?
Just gonna affirm Vox click affirmation as he's very deep in thought, calculating the shot.
Brother Barbus, this is going to be very embarrassing if you don't take down that flyer.
Embarrassing has nothing to do with it, Brother Sala. I will do as I must.
At this point, Konstantinos is going to make his way over, slightly behind Barbus, to not interfere with any sudden movements he may have to make. His eyes flaring up as he begins to kind of look around at any possible movements, tracking the exact location and patterns that the pilot is currently doing, and starts reading off coordinates and probabilities of where it's going in quick, short Astartes cant towards Barbas, trying to give him a little bit of a bonus, if anything. Positioning himself in a way that if a stray shot or something came into the ship, there would at least be like a 50% chance it would hit him instead of the colonel deeper in the ship.
Feeling the wind whip past everyone into the shuttle, he's probably a bit mindful of how badly this colonel's being shaken up at the minute. August is going to maglock his boots to the floor, sort of trudge over a bit, and impose his combat shield in front of the colonel. Hopefully shielding him from any stray bullets, but also giving him a little bit of a reprieve from the constantly lapping wind.
The colonel was in very much an unfortunate position. Like, he was like feet off the ground due to the wind and like just absolutely getting thrown around inside this oversized like harness. He's just getting absolutely bad. You coming over, kind of steadying him and acting as a windbreak helps him immensely. And you just hear him going, like, it's kind of lost on the wind. He's like, what the frack are they doing?
Whatever the hell they like, it seems.
So, Dima, realizing this is going to be a hard shot even for Barbas, despite his best attempts at denying him his last cannon, will go to give him a hand via casting Possibility Shield.
Okay, yeah, Possibility Shield goes off. So what does Possibility Shield look like again?
It'll be like a very soft, somber, sort of green warmth-looking bubbly thing. It doesn't look fierce or like anything like fire.
So Barbas is, as per usual, his goggles he's constantly zooming in each lens, flicking over, trying to gain as much information about his enemy as possible, studying their flight patterns, how they might dip to avoid a shot and then come back up to line it up again. And as soon as he finds a moment he's confident he can impact, he leads the shot, factoring in the data that Constantinos has given him, and just squeezes and lets the laser just impact. And in this scenario, it has gone exactly as he predicted.
The las cannon shot flies out of the back of the Corvus Black Star, striking one of the engines of the Barracuda fighter. The engine splutters, explodes into black smoke, and the fighter banks away. Not destroyed, not immobilized, not falling to the ground, but sufficiently damaged that it's now losing speed, and the pilot has immediately had to go into recovering its trajectory.
Constantinos is just going to give Barbas a pat on the back before moving back to his seat.
Confirmed hit, Brother Grakis. Target peeling away.
Fine work, brother! And the doors of the passenger bay just snap closed.
As the door's closing, or has closed, or what have you, Sael is just going to say to Barbas, "An impressive shot, Brother Barbas. It seems the Emperor has not overlooked your hours of devotion and prayer."
So it would seem, brother. I could certainly get used to this las cannon. It is a mighty fine piece of machinery.
Sael just laughs over the vox.
And with that, as the Imperial fighters drive off and continue to engage the Tau fighters, the Corvus Black Star descends down, banking at high speeds, exposing you all to Gs that are a little bit too much for the Colonel, who passes out as you all stand around completely unaffected.
"This is no time to nap, Colonel!"
Before suddenly snapping up and banking back towards your intended drop zone. In about 20 minutes, the Colonel comes round just as the Corvus Black Star is landing outside of the battalion headquarters that have been made the crux of the assault.
I turn to the colonel. Hey, you're awake.
God damn it.
God.
I had to.
The disembarkation ramps drop down from the Corvus Black Star's hold, and your harnesses all spring up. The Colonel very unsteadily makes his way down the ramp, and Keeper Hamish sort of walks up next to Barbas, looks him up and down, and goes, Your actions were not in the Codex Astartes, brother, but they were damn impressive, and then just walks off.
Your praise is well received, Brother Hamish.
Hey, Varvers here, coming at you from the void. Remember to like and subscribe, and leave a comment telling me what your favourite part of the episode was. We always really appreciate the feedback, and we'd love to hear from you. Now, a quick shout out to the patrons. Thank you all so much for your support. It means the world to me. And a shout out to our newest patron, Tommy Anderson. Thank you very much for your support. Well, that's all for today, and until next time, suffer not the alien to live.